Yo, let me keep it real with you. Arkham City ain't just a Batman game. It's the game that took the bat off its pedestal and showed us the cracks. See, most superhero games, they're power fantasies. You're the hero, you swing around, you save the day, and credits. Done. But Arkham City? Nah. This game don't let you walk away feeling like a savior. It leaves you uneasy, empty, questioning if Batman's even the good guy here. That's why I call this one different. Cause this is the game where Batman doesn't win. He survives, yeah, but he's exposed. Every step of the way, the game reminds you that Batman is just as broken as the city he's trying to save. And the wild part, Rocksteady, the GOATs, never shoved that message in your face. They hid it under the slick combat, the gadgets, and the open world. So most people missed it. But if you really pay attention, Arkham City is secretly the story of Batman's downfall. So that's what we're diving into today. No capes, no hero worship, no Batman glazing, nah. We're gonna peel this game apart, layer by layer, and I'ma show y'all why Arkham City is the greatest Batman story ever told. Because it dares to tell the truth. Batman is doomed. Alright, let's talk about how we even got here in the first place. Arkham Asylum set the stage, and honestly, it was peak Batman fantasy. You're trapped with all the rogues, you outsmart Joker, you flex your detective vision, and by the end, you feel unstoppable. The Asylum is Batman's playground. Tight, controlled, claustrophobic. Exactly the type of battlefield where he thrives. Remember, Batman's gimmick is all about fear, and the game nailed that in every aspect. But Arkham City? Man, that's the glow up and the downfall rolled into one. Gotham doesn't just have criminals anymore. It has a whole district sealed off, thrown away like trash, where chaos and violence run the streets unchecked. And the craziest part, the city is fine with it. Politicians and rich folks go to sleep at night knowing half the population is rotting behind those walls. That escalation is everything, because the bigger the canvas, the less Batman can actually control. In the Asylum, he was the predator in the shadows. In the city, he's just one more player in a game too big for him to win. And Rocksteady knew this. They gave you the bigger playground, sure. Grapnel boosts, open rooftops, side missions everywhere. But under all that freedom is the quiet truth. Batman's reach is limited. No matter how fast you glide or how many thugs you break, there's always more crime, more screams, more fires burning in the background. So what looks like escalation on the surface is actually the start of Batman unraveling. He can't hold it all together anymore. The mask starts cracking the second you drop into Arkham City. And that's where the city starts to show us something deeper. Something uncomfortable. People love to say Gotham is its own character. And yeah, that's true. But in Arkham City, it goes deeper. Gotham ain't just a character. It's a mirror. The whole district is basically Batman staring back at himself. Think about it. The government didn't fix crime. It didn't reform the system, and it didn't help the poor. They just walled everything off and said problem solved. That's literally Batman's whole method in a nutshell. He doesn't solve the roots, he just beats the problem down and locks it away until it pops up again. Joker. Arkham City is Gotham scaling Batman's methods up to the size of a city. And it's ugly, man. Every street corner screams corruption. Every gang fight you swoop down on feels like a small victory. But zoom out and nothing changes. There's still 20 more dudes around the corner. Still blood on the snow. Still innocents caught in the crossfire. And that's the genius of Rocksteady's design. You feel powerful gliding across rooftops, but when you drop down into the streets, It's chaos 24/7. The city doesn't bend to Batman's will, it absorbs him. Hugo Strange, man, he's the cherry on top. He runs Arkham City the same way Batman runs Gotham: surveillance, control, fear. He studies Batman so well, he becomes his reflection. Strange even calls him out directly. I know who you are. I know your obsession. He's basically the mask ripped off, saying the quiet part out loud. So when people ask, what's Arkham City really about? It's this. Gotham finally looks like Batman. Corrupt, obsessive, and surviving on violence. And it doesn't heal. It just mirrors his flaws right back at him. Which brings us to the real core of this game. The blood tie that no one talks about. On the surface, the whole Joker infects Batman with his blood plot sounds like some comic book gimmick. A way to tie Batman's fate to the Joker so you don't just ignore the clown and go fight Penguin for the whole game. Rocksteady wasn't just pulling some random plot twist. This is the core metaphor of Arkham City. Batman and Joker are literally the same disease. Different symptoms, same infection. Batman's sickness, obsession. His refusal to quit, his need to control everything. His addiction to the mask. Joker's sickness, chaos. He can't stop destroying, laughing, and killing, even when it hurts him. Well, let's be honest, it doesn't really hurt him, but you get my point. And now, those two paths collide. Physically, Joker's blood runs through Batman's veins. It's a grotesque way of saying these two have always been tied together, and now you can't separate them anymore. Think about it. Batman spends the whole game racing for a cure. But is he trying to save Gotham? Nah, he's trying to save himself. He doesn't want to admit the truth, that maybe this sickness isn't Joker's alone. Maybe it's been inside him, the whole time. And here's the craziest layer. Batman gets the cure, he wins, but Joker still dies. Not because Batman failed, but because Joker couldn't stop being Joker. And Batman, he's left holding the body, realizing he ain't cured either. The obsession, the sickness, it's still there. Joker just embodied it louder. The blood tie wasn't just a plot device. It was Rocksteady's way of saying Batman and Joker are the same damn person, split down the middle. And that's why this game is about Batman's downfall. And if Joker is one side of him, then every other villain, they're pieces of him too. One of the slickest things Rocksteady pulled, they didn't just throw villains in for the hell of it. Nah, every rogue in Arkham City is a mirror, reflecting back a different crack in Batman's soul. Let's start with Two-Face, who represents duality. Harvey Dent is the walking embodiment of split identity. By day, he was Gotham's White Knight. By night, he became a scarred monster. Sound familiar? Bruce Wayne in the tux versus Batman in the cowl. The coin is just Harvey's version of the mask. Both men let an object decide who they are. Then there's the Penguin, who represents legacy and obsession. Oswald Cobblepot is Batman if he stripped away the noble mission. Both rich kids raised in Gotham's shadows, obsessed with hoarding power. Penguin collects guns, thugs, and trophies. Bruce collects gadgets, secrets, and war stories. Same hunger, different flex. Ra's al Ghul with the temptation of immortality. Ra's is the whisper in Batman's ear. You don't have to die. You don't have to stop. The Lazarus Pit is just a cheat code for Batman's greatest fear: irrelevance. Rage tempts him with what he secretly wants: an endless crusade. And deep down, Batman's tempted. And then, to top it all off, there's Hugo Strange, the unmasked Batman. Strange is low-key the scariest villain in the game. Not because he's super smart or none, but because he knows. He studies Batman, dissects him, calls him out. Strange is Batman without the lie, without the cover story. An obsessive man who thinks fear and control can fix a broken city. And that's the real heart. Strange isn't wrong. He's just Batman stripped of the hero branding. Even the side villains play into this. Well, or should I say, honorable mentions. Mr. Freeze, the man who sacrifices love for obsession. Nigga, tell me that ain't Bruce with Selina and Talia. Zsasz, the compulsive need for ritual, a darker reflection of Batman's own nightly routine. And Deadshot, precision, discipline, skill, but for money. Another dark mirror. And so on and so on. Arkham City ain't a gallery of bad guys. It's Batman's psyche shattered into enemies, thrown back at him until he can't deny what he really is. Just another obsessive freak in Gotham's circus. And that's when the cracks start to show. This is where the tragedy hits hardest. Batman is supposed to be Gotham's savior, the unstoppable detective, the ultimate predator in the shadows. But in Arkham City, he fails constantly, and Rocksteady makes sure you feel it. First, with Talia al Ghul. He can't save her. She's taken, manipulated, and ultimately becomes another casualty of his obsession. All the gadgets, all the planning, all the detective work. Useless. This is Batman failing at the one thing that matters personally, not just professionally. Then the Joker. He dies, not because Batman slips, but because he's already trapped in his own obsession. Batman can't prevent the inevitable, and the game frames it so you feel that heavy emptiness. You carried him through the story only to see him collapse anyway. Protocol 10. Hugo Strange's master plan succeeds until Batman intervenes, but intervention is only temporary. Millions of citizens are still in danger, chaos is everywhere, and Batman's control barely scratches the surface. Victory feels hollow. And the cherry on top are the side missions. They're not just optional distractions. Every rescue, every criminal you take down reinforces the futility. Save a victim here, another gets hurt there. Gotham doesn't learn, doesn't grow, doesn't improve. Batman isn't a hero in the traditional sense. He's a perpetuator of a never-ending cycle. Even the narrative itself constantly reminds you, Batman is in over his head. The villains are smarter, the stakes are bigger, and the city is too massive for him to impose his order. He's not failing in secret, the game shines a spotlight on it. And that's the brutal genius of Arkham City. It gives you all the Batman powers you've ever dreamed of. And it still makes you feel small, helpless, and obsessed. By the end, you realize that Batman isn't the unstoppable hero of legend. He's a man desperately trying to keep a crumbling world together, knowing full well it's slipping through his damn fingers. And that's when Arkham City reminds us who Batman really is. Here's where Arkham City hits different. Joker dies, but not in some epic hero beats villain cinematic. Nah, Joker's death is messy, personal, and heavy. Because Batman's triumph doesn't feel like triumph. It feels like tragedy. Think about it. The entire game, you've been running, fighting, gliding, tracking, and analyzing. Thinking maybe, just maybe, Batman can clean up this mess. But when it all comes to a head, Joker's death isn't a victory. It's a mirror. Batman walks out carrying Joker's corpse. Silent. He doesn't celebrate, doesn't smile, doesn't savor a win. He's broken. And that's the point. Rocksteady isn't showing you the end of a rivalry. They're showing the inevitable collapse of a man obsessed. And a subtle brilliance, Batman's victory is meaningless. The city is still corrupt, Hugo Strange is gone, but the cycle remains. Citizens still suffer, and Batman's obsession continues. He saved a life, but lost part of his own soul in the process. The Joker's death is the final punctuation on the thesis we've been building all game. Batman is doomed by his own obsession. He's not invincible. He's not flawless. He's a man trapped by his own code, by his own need to control, by his own inability to let go. Even the framing drives it home. Carrying Joker's body, walking over the city at night, the city that never sleeps, the city that never changes. It's almost poetic. Batman isn't walking away as a hero. He's walking away as a man who just realized the truth. Sometimes being the hero means losing yourself. Because beyond the combat and the gadgets, there's a lesson in obsession, failure, and humanity. Because here's the thing. You could play Arkham City and love it for the gadgets, the combat, or the open world freedom. And yeah, not gonna lie, that stuff slaps. But the real legacy of this game, it's the story it quietly told. That Batman is not the flawless hero we've been fed since childhood. Rocksteady didn't just make a best superhero game. They made a tragedy disguised as a blockbuster. A game where your hero is obsessed, broken, and failing. Yet you're still compelled to follow him, watch him, feel for him. Why does it still resonate today? Because it's rare. Most superhero games hand you victory on a silver platter. Arkham City forces you to grapple with failure, reality, and the cost of obsession. The narrative, the world, the characters, they all converge to show a Batman who is human, flawed, and painfully trapped by his own code. And that's why even now, Arkham City stands apart. It's a story of quiet devastation, wrapped in the mask of a superhero epic. It's the game that taught players some they might never admit out loud. The hero they idolized is doomed, not because of some villain, but because of himself. When you think back, all the gadgets, all the combat, all the open world exploration, it's window dressing for something far more heavy. This is what makes Arkham City the crown jewel of Batman storytelling. So here we are, at the end of this ride. Arkham City isn't just a game I played. It's a lesson I had to sit with. Because it showed me some most superhero stories never will. Your hero can be broken. Your idol can fail. And sometimes the tragedy isn't the villain winning. It's the hero losing himself in the process. That's why I call this game a masterpiece. Not because it's flashy, not because it's loud, but because it sees what most people miss. Arkham City whispers a truth under the combat, the gadgets, and the gliding. Batman is doomed by his own obsession. And that's why this game sticks with me. It's not just a Batman story. It's a human story. It's about obsession, failure, and the cost of holding onto a code in a world that refuses to bend. And look where that code got him. So yeah, next time you put on the cowl, swing across Gotham, or punch another thug in the face, remember, every victory is temporary, every rescue is incomplete, but doom is eternal. Nah, but seriously, the mask doesn't make you invincible. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes Batman truly human. Arkham City isn't just the greatest Batman game ever made. It's the story of his quiet downfall. And it's never going to leave you the same. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace!